I went into hermit mode during my awakening. I shared in my previous videos some of the symptoms that I experienced during the pandemic, but prior to this, I actually had some paranormal activity experiences and some visual changes. So I won't dive into that, but I will say that I was feeling physically that it was harder and harder to be around certain people. I also felt like things that used to interest me no longer interested me. Events that I would use to go either because I actually wanted to or I wanted to be around the people that were going to be at the event, everything just shifted. And it didn't happen overnight. I didn't have the awareness that I have today to understand what I was feeling. But now that I'm here, I can reflect back and know that it was a gradual process that led me into hermit mode. I felt overstimulated from events, from people. I felt more and more tired, but I also felt like I wanted to just be alone. Grown up in an Asian family where we had, it was like a generational home with a lot of people, always having noise, always having something to do, never really having my own space. It was really shocking to me when I started feeling like I wanted to be alone. And I definitely feel like this was a low point in my life. I've had many, but this was one of the, ones that led me into the deepest hermit mode experience I've ever had, where I wasn't just wanting to be alone for a weekend or a couple weeks. It was like, I don't want to talk to anyone anymore. I don't want to go anywhere anymore. I don't even know what I needed to be in hermit mode for. I just knew I didn't want to be around people. Was I depressed? Definitely. Was this a low point in my life? 100%. I wasn't sure why, but now I know, right? My body was going through its own ascension process to catch up to where my spiritual self was. And I don't want you to feel alarmed if you are experiencing the same things or even having thoughts that like I had, where again, you're questioning everything, every person, every place you've ever been. You're questioning what you're doing with your life and what you want in your future. And you're questioning like the purpose of your existence. I know that there's a big crisis right now where people are the existential crisis. And I felt like maybe I'm just going through that, or maybe I'm hitting an age where like things are just going to change, right? Like we hear about it all the time. People, let's say like after 10 years, they have a whole career change, or after so many years, they all of a sudden like don't love their wife or husband, or somebody just up and sells their home and leaves and goes somewhere. Like I thought maybe this is just a normal. I'm saying normal with quotes because this is what we have heard people have done, right? So it's not too shocking if I were to one day up and leave, to be honest, because we have labeled it as the existential crisis or midlife crisis, right? At the time in my life, it wasn't that extreme in the sense of I didn't want to like leave my whole family, my job, my friends, everyone behind. I just knew I didn't want to be around anyone. I was so overwhelmed with my thoughts and emotions because I didn't understand it. And it took me years to understand myself while I was going through this process. So I hope you don't feel like you need to know what's going on or what you're actually thinking. Like it doesn't have to be clear. Like one day I felt like life is good. I'm okay being alone. The next day I was like, I feel so lonely, but I don't want to be around people. The next day, like my mom would call and be like, oh yeah, you should stop being so alone, come see us. And I'm just like, no, I just want to be alone. I wasn't even doing anything important by myself, right? I just knew I wanted to be alone. And looking back, I understand now that it was for the best of me. I'm an empath, so I feel energy very intensely. I had no clue I was an empath, right? Like I wasn't aware of that word. I know empathy, but I didn't know that you could fully just be like empathic. And I was still learning. Now on the internet, there's a lot of people who are sharing their spiritual experiences, which I love. And that's, because we're learning from one another. And the word empath and being an empathic person became very viral. So I tread carefully when I put labels on myself. When I label things, it's more so that I understand it. So I'm aware of myself so I can help myself understand my experiences. I don't want to just tag myself with every spiritual term that is out there. I research and I observe and I really like view myself as um, the most important thing. And I love myself. And so be mindful when you feel like there's a word that describes you. Be mindful of actually saying that out loud without actually taking the time to fully, observe yourself for months, for longer times of period to be sure that is what you are. Don't just do it because, hey, it kind of makes sense. Hey, it kind of sounds like me. Like, no, don't do that to yourself, right? Two reasons why. When you label yourself, you limit yourself. The second reason is you may be speaking something into existence. You may not even be the label that you're saying you are, right? The words I am are very powerful. Um, anything, right? Like starting the word with I, you are proclaiming that something is true with your own words. Your words are powerful. So be mindful. Grown up, after I learned and discovered that I am an empath, I, of course, took the time to reflect like I advised you to. And I was like, yeah, that is me. In the past, my friends and family would tell stories, and oh my gosh, it would hurt me so much. And I would feel their pain, or I would watch movies and shows, other people's experiences, and it would just hurt me beyond what it needed to. I would also feel heartbreaks and also good feelings, right? Like I feel so strongly when I fall for somebody. I feel love so deeply for my friends and family. I feel so passionate and like so much care for my job because I care about the people. I care what I'm doing. And as I discovered this part of myself to just understand me, right? Prior to this, I just, I've been told like I was a little bit sensitive or things like that, but those are not words that speak of love. An empath is just a true word that describes who I am. And again, at this point, I'm like 20s, so it wasn't like I'm 16 and I'm learning a word and am I really that? Because I'm going through so many changes as I'm becoming a woman. No, I've lived like almost 30 years at that point in my life, and I knew 100% I was an empath. And so all of this goes to say, when I was going through my hermit mode and I discovered I'm an empath, and that was a big reason why I was so sensitive to other people's energy, I felt that I needed to learn how to protect myself. And number one was obviously physically removing myself from people and spaces that were I felt like was too much, right? It has nothing to do with them. It was more so overstimulating myself, or me just not wanting to be around things or people that would like trigger me to react in a way that I knew wasn't my true self. Because when you're an empath, you unconsciously take on other people's emotions, thoughts, and words because you're around them or you absorb it. And I didn't want that anymore. Once I was aware and I was like, this is true. And no, I'm cutting it off. The second thing was I went online and again, trying to find answers, right? And I learned that you can imagine a pure love and light white bubble surrounding your whole body, and not just like, a couple inches away from your body, right? I'm talking about I would verbally and visually speak this into existence of like, I would say like 7 to 12 feet around me. There's a pure white orb of light shielding me from things that are not pure, that are negative, that are dense, that are not for my highest good. Then I would do a second layer and I would say, I would imagine a golden orb of light on top of that white one, and then repeat the same things, right? That is shielding me from anything that is not pure, that is negative, that is dense, that is not for my highest good. You can add additional layers to protect yourself. One is just enough. I'm extra. I love myself. I need to protect myself. I would do what I need to. So I was like, layer, 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 shield it. And the reason why I close my eyes is like I visualize it that way and I really connect with my heart and use my own power. You have the same power, the power of your words, the power of your intention. Your heart is also where your gifts are probably stored. So it's important to connect to your heart, take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, set the intention, and really create this shield to protect yourself. Okay? So, physical protection, spiritual protection, and then I also was, I just cut people off without over explaining. So, historically, I was an over explainer. I had to work through that. And over explainer, as in, I'll use the example of like me sharing that I was gifted with my family. Did I need to tell them all the details? Did I even need to tell them? No. But I was like, oh no, what if they notice that I'm acting different? What if I hurt them because I don't want to go to like every event or see them all the time anymore? Not that I saw them like every single day, but you know, we were like seeing each other every weekend and so on. So I over explained myself up front to say, hey, this is happening to me and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But did I need to do that? No. So I had a lot of friends and acquaintances that I had basically accumulated over my life. And again, I was a social butterfly and I love everyone so much. But I completely just like left social media overnight. And I did stay on like some message groups with close friends. And those were the only ones that I continued to stay connected with during this period of my life. Didn't mean my other friends weren't able to reach out to me. Like if we were that good of friends, they had my phone number. They can reach out to me, and they didn't. And it doesn't hurt me. But I'm just saying, like I didn't completely close people out. As like if they reached out, I would have responded. If I saw them somewhere, I would have said, hey, it's like it was nothing personal. It was nothing about these people. It was about me. My actions that I took to remove myself from social media was for me. 2 reasons. The number one was I didn't see value in any of it anymore. It was completely like not serving me. I actually loved it because I could connect with people, right? That's the number one reason why we have social media. Could connect with family that wasn't here locally. I could connect with friends who I made like 20 years ago or something. But was it really necessary? No. I wanted to live in present tense and I wanted to only share or know things about people that I actually saw in present tense. Didn't mean that I didn't love or care about all these other people and what was going on with their lives. But if I needed to know, they knew how to reach me. Is the like mindset that I began. Second reason why I left was goodness, the things that people post or the things that I saw that social media would just like force me to look at, right? Like it would be promoted or an ad or random strangers that I wasn't even following or friends with, like their content would appear and everything just felt like negative. Like I could feel it. You know, it was a lot. So I'm a person where if I read something, I could feel someone's energy. That's no longer true now that I've built up my own spiritual strength. However, it was very true back then when I didn't know how to protect myself and I didn't know what was going on. I would just read and feel like, oh my God, this is so dark, or this person had so much dark energy. Um, like you can feel, you don't even have to be fully awakened. You can feel the, let's say you're around someone, right? And they're always negative. Like, I'm not telling you they're always negative. When I said they're always negative, you probably thought of a person that you know that's always negative, or that posts things that seem like their life is just not good. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying, like, that's how I felt. Like, you just knew, like, you would read it and you'd be like, they're so negative. And I would unfollow these people because I don't want to unfriend them. I love them. And I'm also very um, mindful. Like, I don't want to lose somebody or disconnect with somebody just because they're going through something and I didn't want to be receiving that energy that they're going through, right? Like, I love them, I support you, but I don't want to be a part of this. And respect yourself. You have a right to do that. But it was too much because it was more than one person. There's a time period where it literally felt like months of just people constantly. It was all negative, very dark things. People would share events that I didn't want to hear about in their local community or in the world. It's just very dark. I personally don't even watch the news because it's very dark. Um, and I also don't like to read things that have to do with death, specifically suicide and things like that. And that was at the time period when I left. That was what everyone was kind of posting because there were these events that were happening. And my heart goes out to these tragedies, but it was not feeding anything good to me, like to see it. And I wouldn't even fully read it. It would just be like, I would, as you do when you're scrolling, right? You're reading, you're like swipe, you're reading, you're swiping. I'm like, it was just constant. So yeah, I needed to protect myself. And I love social media, which is the number one way to connect to people nowadays. And so I really was meant to look inward at this time. Again, I'm a very curious person, so I did go out and seek community elsewhere with people who aligned with me. And I maintained relationships with people who made the effort to reach out to me, or just, if I saw them, and we would reconnect. I no longer tried to be everywhere doing everything for the sake of other people's happiness. That was something I had to work through during my hermit mode. Um, but yeah, I just don't want you to feel alone if you're experiencing or having these thoughts or observations about yourself. It's okay to just disappear and not explain to people. It's okay to take some time before you go anywhere to create a shield of light to protect you. Okay. And you have to do it every day. I will share one more thing that really helped me that I like learned, began to practice, and honestly do it every time I shower now is when I shower, I close my eyes and I say out loud because again, your words are powerful and I want my body to hear it because I'm cleansing my body, right? Not just my physical, but there's multiple layers of your body, your energetic, your spiritual, and so on. So I set the intention and I always take, one or several breaths when I'm showering and I let the water pour onto the top of my head because that's your crown chakra. That's where you connect to the most spiritual parts of you and the divine. Okay. So the water falls down. And as I feel into the water and as I drop into my heart and as I connect to myself through my breath, I say, something along the lines of, I cleanse and clear and remove all negative energy and all negative things from me. If you feel like there's something attached to you, you have the power to disconnect it from you, to detach it from you. You may have to repeat it and set the intention in multiple ways, aside from just, the shower method to fully detach from it, but you can do it. So if you feel called to, you can also ask for your divine angels. We all have angels, or, any divine source or entity that you believe in. So you can call in, I always call in Archangel Michael to protect me, to use his sword of light to shield me. I also call on Goddess Kuan Yin. So those are just examples. I'm sure you resonate or feel called to or have a connection with other um, divine things. So do that as well if you want to while you're doing your shower, and imagine all the dark, dense energy just wash away. Okay. Like if it helps, sit or stand in the shower and just, let it all flow out and wash out, and don't leave until you feel cleared. I felt like this became such a powerful practice that I honestly was showering more than I ever had. I would come home sometimes from events and just feel like, ooh. And this, again, it's nothing personal against anyone. When you are gifted, and especially if you're an empath and you are an energy alchemist, your body just does it without you like setting the intention or planning. I'm around people and I'm just like naturally transmuting, naturally transmuting. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like I don't see it. I don't feel it when it's happening, but I know that's one of my gifts. And so nothing personal against my friends and family, but yeah, sometimes I'm at an event of like 100 people or something. And I'm like, well, I had to do a really good long shower um, and just cleanse and envision a light while you're showering. Envision that you are glowing from the inside out with golden light or white light, whatever you feel called to. These are my tips. Always take everything, even what I say, with a grain of salt. Only take what resonates with you. Maybe this inspires you and then you try it, but the words that come to you are different, or what you see and experience is different as you're cleansing yourself. That's okay. Do what works for you. We're all different. We're similar but different. Okay. I hope that while you're going through or beginning your hermit mode, that you remember your community is always out there for you. You are never alone, and this is temporary. And whenever you feel ready, you can come back out. And it took me a couple years, but I'm ready to come back out. And I'm the best version that I am today. I know myself more than I ever thought I would. I love myself more than I ever could imagine. And I'm going to continue to work on these things, even though I'm at the best place in my life right now, because life is a journey. Whether you are, connecting to the spiritual aspects of yourself or not, life is a journey. And you are the main character. Don't let people tell you you are not the main character and that the world does not revolve around you. I heard that so many times growing up, not from people, but like movies and the internet and just people saying that. And I'm like, you know what? What I learned from all of this is I am the main character and I do control my life and I am like writing my story and I am like everything I want to be and more. So remember, love yourself, put yourself first, do what's best for you, always do what's best for you, trust your gut. Don't let anyone tell you that your actions of going into hermit mode or disconnecting from them for your like own self, right, is affecting them. Sure, listen, talk to them, but it's for the best of you. And if they love you, they'll understand. If they don't understand now, they will later. So don't worry about other people while you're worrying about yourself. This is not being selfish. You are on your journey and it is what it is. And connections that stay or can resume without much effort, those are the ones that you're meant to have forever. People come and go. It's natural. We all know this now. So hoping the best for you. And I'm hoping that while you're on this hermit mode, whether short or long, whether it's your second or third time going through hermit mode, I hope that you're able to connect to yourself at the deepest layer that you need to, that's appropriate for you now, and that you discover more layers of yourself and that you feel all the love that the world has for you and that your higher self has for you.